Okay, what is facial balancing? I've been talking about that a lot, and I want to give you guys the lowdown of what that actually means. So when we talk facial balancing, it is literally balancing the face. What that means is there are laws in aesthetics, and these are just, as far as how people perceive beauty and what the preferred ratios of the face are. So when we're going to do facial balancing, the first thing to do is assess your face. We have to take measurements. We have to look for certain signs of aging. And there's 11 areas of the face that we're going to look at. So we're going to start up here at the temples. There's 5 pieces to this temple assessment that we would go over to see if you needed any kind of restoration to the temples to help with anti-aging. We're going to talk about the under eyes. We're going to talk about the lateral cheek. We're going to talk about the middle of the cheek. We're going to talk about the preauricular area back here where people hollow out as they age. We're going to talk about the nasolabial folds in this piriform aperture right here. That's a big one for people. We're going to talk about the lips, of course. We're going to talk about the jawline, which includes this little pre-jowl sulcus right here. Jowls are usually kind of in this area, so we want to assess post jowl and then pre-jowl here. And then we're going to talk about the chin, not only the width and the femininity of the chin, but also where that light is hitting the chin, because it's super important when it comes to full face. We're going to talk about chin shadows also. So there are 11 places that I'm going to be assessing. I'm going to be measuring. From there, we can diagnose what the actual symptoms are. And based on your diagnosis, that's where we come up with your priorities, like what's the most critical thing that we need to fix. And I don't want to say fix like you're broken, but what's the most critical area that we need to address to help that holistic rejuvenation. And then what are the other areas that maybe can wait or, are further down on the priority list. And then we can make a plan. So once we come up with a plan, that's really nice because we just have it all laid out. Here's what we're going to do first. Here's what we're going to do next. And then we're going to optimize. So some people need to make sure their collagen has been restored first before we go putting filler places. Think of it like, I like to compare it to a balloon. So if your skin is nice and tight, it's like that, a balloon that's been filled up, then we can just go in and glaze those areas that need it with a filler or something to make it all look just perfection versus a really deflated balloon, like maybe you've lost a lot of collagen. We need to tighten that balloon up first before we start putting stuff in there, because it's going to take a lot more to put in a deflated balloon to make it look great than something that's already inflated. Hopefully that makes sense. So we want to tighten the skin first. So we're going to optimize you. We're going to make sure that collagen has been restored, that we're doing what we can with the skin, because to be honest, if you've seen these people, like the people who are in their, let's say 70s, who have been getting Botox, maybe they've been getting filler for a long time, but their skin is not great. It looks off. Like there's just something about it where you're like, that doesn't look right. Like something about that doesn't look right. Well, that's because they're not aging in those Botox and filler areas, but they are aging in the skin. I haven't done anything about that. So we're optimizing with the skin first, and then we're putting in the work. That's where we're doing the facial balancing. That's where we are addressing those areas that we determined were high priority. We are making sure that all of our measurements and everything is coming together beautifully. And then we review. And so when we review, we kind of look back and say, here's where we started, here's where we are, and then we can determine where we're going next. So facial balancing, again, in a nutshell, is literally just making sure that the face is balanced. We're assessing it for optimal measurements, optimal, like everything, the width is optimal. I have a pretty strong jawline, so you can see like I'm very wide here. I need to work on re-narrowing this area here, so that just goes along with it. There's things that we can do to create a more optimal facial balance. Same with my lips. I'm due for some lips. So that's it. If you have any questions on what facial balancing is exactly, please let me know. We can achieve facial balancing through Botox and filler is typically the most common things that we use for facial balancing. But that just depends, again, on your assessment, what your diagnoses are, and the plan that we come up with. So I like to think of it as the Empower plan, or the Empower process, excuse me. We have a process basically based on all that, we have protocols in place based on all that. If we see XYZ, then we do XYZ. So we have all these protocols in place to make sure that you're getting the most optimal results. But again, the process is our empower process. We evaluate, we're making our assessments. We're making our diagnosis. We're coming up with, the symptoms. And then P after that is we are coming up with the priorities and the plan. And then we optimize. Then we do W, all the work. And then R, we're reviewing. So we're kind of checking in on everything, making sure it all looks great. We're maybe doing a maintenance session at that point, and then we go from there. So let me know if you have any questions about that. I know it's a lot, but facial balancing is an incredible tool. It's an amazing way to look great for your age without looking like you're trying to be, 20 when you're 45. Like that's just, it always looks off. So this is a way to respect your own anatomy, to make sure that we are doing everything in multiple planes of the face in all the areas that need to be addressed, instead of having you just anti-aging the forehead and then, when you're 50, all of a sudden you're like, where did these jowls come from? My forehead looks great, but now that's this. And then you're trying to play catch up and it just starts looking off. So I want the best for you all. And if you have any questions about facial balancing, let me know.